basic breed characteristics. They are mottled skin, white sclera, striped toes, and coat pattern. So why don't we begin by talking about mottled skin? Mottled skin is different from normal pink skin in that it contains areas of dark pigmentation. The result is a speckled or blotchy pattern of pigmented and non-pigmented skin. This can be seen in areas like the muzzle, around the eyes, and under the tail. Mottled skin is unique to the Appaloosa and therefore is a decisive indicator of an Appaloosa horse. Another breed characteristic Appaloosas have is white sclera. Sclera is the area of the eye around the iris. Although all horses show white if the eye is held back, the Appaloosa visibly shows white when the eye is in a normal position. Another breed characteristic you can recognize Appaloosas by is their striped hooves. Many Appaloosas have bold and clearly defined vertically striped hooves. However, some other breeds of horses can have striped hooves as well, so they are not a decisive indicator of an Appaloosa horse. The Appaloosa also has some breed characteristics you may want to watch out for, including strong tendencies to ERU, equine recurrent uveitis, and CSNB, congenital stationary night blindness. Uveitis has many causes in horses, including eye trauma, disease, and bacterial, parasitic, and viral infections. But ERU is characterized by recurring episodes of the uveitis. Up to 80% of all uveitis cases are found in Appaloosas. Also, Appaloosas that are homozygous for the LP or leopard complex gene are at risk for CSNB. It causes an affected horse to lack in night vision, although day vision is normal. It is an inherited disease present from birth that does not progress over time. Another thing Appaloosas that you may see is a rat tail. This is actually a breed characteristic that the Nez Perce tribe bred for, so that when they were traveling, the Appaloosas would not leave hair behind as a way for people to track them. However, today, current breeders breed away from this trait for a fuller mane and tail look in the show ring. Now I'm going to talk more specifically about Appaloosa coat patterns. An Appaloosa can have 5 basic coat patterns: leopard, blanket, snowflake, frost, and marbleized. Leopard is when there are dark spots on a light background or light spots on a dark background. These spots are spread all over the body and come in a variety of different shapes and sizes. The next coat pattern is blanket. This is when there is a white patch located over the hips of the horse. The patch can be small or large, and it can be a solid white patch or have spots like this one. The next coat pattern is snowflake. This is when there are little white spots or flecks located all over the horse's body. However, you may notice in the snowflake pattern that the little white spots or flecks especially focus over the hip area of the horse. The next coat pattern is frost. This is very much like snowflake in that it has the same little white spots or flecks. However, in the frost pattern, these little white spots or flecks do not focus in any one area of the body. They're spread evenly over the entire body of the horse. The last coat pattern is marbleized. This is when white and dark hairs mingle together to create a mottled pattern over the entire body. Now I'm going to introduce you to 2 very special Appaloosas. They are notable enough to be made into Breyer models. This is Little Ricky Rocker, a 1992 leopard Appaloosa gelding. Ricky made his show debut at age 3, but then colicked and was given little chance of survival. Not only did Ricky pull through, but he came back the next year to become the reserve world champion in junior reining. Ricky has had success in many classes, including earning several world and national titles in Appaloosa heritage. This is Dizzy Guido, a 1994 blanketed stallion. Dizzy Guido is the grandson of Zippo Pine Bar. At age 3, he won the Appaloosa World Championship in trail. He then, in 1998, was named Appaloosa Western Champion. DZ Weedo has had success in many classes, including Western Pleasure, Trail, Western Riding, and Bareback Equitation. His offspring have also won several world and national titles, including titles in racing. The Appaloosa I currently ride is named Wall Street Weedo. He is a son of DZ Weedo and also won the Appaloosa World Trail as a 3-year-old. There is one more thing you should know about Appaloosa coat patterns. An Appaloosa doesn't have to have a coat pattern. It can be a solid Appaloosa. The APHC's decision to allow solid colored or non-characteristic Appaloosas to be registered created substantial debate within the Appaloosa breeding community. Because the occasional individual is born with little to no spotting pattern, the APHC allows regular registration of Appaloosas with mottled skin plus at least one other core characteristic, such as white sclera or striped hooves. If a horse has 2 registered APHC parents, but no identifiable Appaloosa characteristics, they are registered as non-characteristic, a special registration status. Today we're going to finish off by talking about the uses of Appaloosa horses. Back at the beginning, the Appaloosa was used by the Nez Perce tribe for hunting, transportation, and battle. Since then, the Appaloosa has developed to become a very versatile horse. Strengths in Western events came first, with great success in rodeo, Western pleasure, trail, reining, and Western riding. More recently, success has been found with the introduction of longer-legged mounts in events such as hunter under saddle, eventing, jumping, and fox hunting. The Appaloosa has also been refined for both seats to compete in the show arena in showmanship, Western horsemanship, and English pattern. Let's also not forget this sturdy mount's use as a pleasure, endurance, and competitive trail horse. The Appaloosa also has its own racetrack venue, with most success at 350 yards to the half a mile. Appaloosa racing is conducted at over 40 tracks in the United States and Canada. Today, we have talked about the history of Appaloosa horses, the breed characteristics that you can recognize Appaloosas with, the coat patterns an Appaloosa may or may not have, and the uses of Appaloosa horses through history. So whether you choose to take a quiet ride through the countryside, gallop over the cross-country course, race on to win the half-mile track, or compete in my favorite, the showmanship arena, that hits the spot. My sources for this presentation were the Appaloosa Horse Club, Breyer Horses, PetMD.com, and my own personal experiences. Are there any questions?
Where's the Appaloosa Horse Club located?
The question was, where's the Appaloosa Horse Club located? I believe currently the Appaloosa Horse Club is located in Idaho, or at some point it was.
You gave a nice fact from the history of why the Native Americans originally liked the pen-riding tail. Why the spots? Why did they value that?
The question was, I gave a nice explanation as to why the Nez Perce tribe valued the ratty tails, but why would they value the spots? Some of the reasons why they valued the spots was they liked that their horses stood out and they were very different from other horses around at the time.
Is there any way you can guarantee a certain coat, like breeding one of the non-characteristic solid colored horses with a blanketed horse that